Thank you. Next, we'll go to Ms. Stevens from Michigan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our ranking member as well, and of course our witnesses. We all know that OSHA plays an incredibly vital role in making sure Americans across the country are safe at work. And as a daughter of a small business owner who was a landscaper and employed a lot of people, we know a thing or two about workplace safety in my family, and as someone who has visited over 200 manufacturers in my time in Congress through my Manufacturing Monday program, I see those safety standards in play. But I want to focus my questions certainly on Michigan, but I also just don't want to leave out the assault on our federal workforce and decades of underfunding at OSHA that has been mentioned that leave workers more exposed than ever. And so that combined with catastrophic Medicaid cuts in the reconciliation bill that came down makes it very difficult for workers at this time, and particularly for folks who I hear from a lot in Michigan. An AFL-CIO report found that OSHA has just $3.92 per worker that it is responsible for protecting, and that's down from $6.36 in 1991. And the number of OSHA inspectors per million workers has fallen from 9.7 to 6.1. So, Ms. Reindel, you served at OSHA, you mentioned that. How does this consistent and worsening underscore resourcing or the under-resourcing of the agency that leaves workers exposed to increased safety risks on the job?
Sure. I think in short, just to say that you have the fox guarding the hen house, right? You have fewer inspections, fewer presence in the less in presence in the workplace by OSHA, by an independent, by an external third party. You also don't have an avenue for workers to reach out to an external party. We know there's a lot of fear right now in the US, generally speaking, and without the ability for OSHA to show up and to talk to workers, this has a severe dampening effect on how we actually can measure what's going on. I also want to say that enforcement has been effectively evaluated by many studies to look at OSHA enforcement and OSHA standards and how those have saved lives and been effective and actually greater than the standards even predict. So we have effectiveness of OSHA enforcement that's been shown through many, many studies. I think a lot of my colleagues are talking about VPP. This program still hasn't been critically evaluated, and where it has, there have been big problems with those evaluations to show that they're actually effective. So what we really want to do is make sure employers are following the law.
Yeah, and how about attraction? So when we think about growing our manufacturing sector, we also need to think about the talent that we're bringing in. And I'm curious if when we're ripping away regulatory frameworks and the things that protect people on the job, if it is going to make it easier or harder to attract the talent.
Sure. I know there's definitely an emphasis on domestic manufacturing, but how do you do that if workplaces aren't safe? I think that we've also heard today about OSHA being critically a part of the VPP program. We'll say there are a lot of on-site consultation programs and industry partnerships, and resources and compliance assistance are all very important, but OSHA and VPP actually doesn't do audits until once every 3 to 5 years, so that's a long time.
And one other quick one as well, when you talk about the valuable role that NIOSH plays in keeping workers safe and what American workers will miss out on, how does this upheaval affect that?
NIOSH is really our only source in the government for critical research on health and safety issues. It also already has a lot of industry partnerships, a lot of academic partnerships, real implementation on the ground of preventing workplace injuries and illnesses practically in real time, and also conducting surveillance so that we actually know what's going on in workplaces throughout the states.
Well, thank you so much, and I yield back my time.